State his name and profession. Miles Edgeworth. I'm a prosecuting attorney. Mr. Edgeworth, 15 years ago, you mistakenly killed your father, Gregory Edgeworth. Is this correct? It is correct. Then testify about this matter to the court. When Edgeworth was telling me about his dream yesterday, I noticed something. One detail didn't quite fit. That'll be the key, but only if I can get it to work.
Hey, Nick. Please, please.
That day, I had gone to the courtroom to observe one of my father's trials. As we went to leave, an earthquake struck, trapping us in the elevator. My father and Mr. Yogi lost their composure and began to argue. Just then, something heavy fell at my feet. Something. I picked it up and threw it at Mr. Yogi. I wanted them to stop fighting.
Wait, what? We already cross-examined the parrot, though. What? Unless that's not what you were talking about, sorry.
A moment later, there was a single gunshot, then a scream. It was a terrible scream. I remember it to this day. That's all. And until now, you thought this memory was a dream? We were stuck in that elevator for 5 hours. The oxygen in the elevator ran out, and I lost my memory of the events. Bah! The same claim Mr. Yogi has made. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. No, it's okay, Evie. No need to apologize. Blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
No, oops.
Wow, that was close.
Objection!
Are you sure you only heard one gunshot? Yes, I'm sure of that. I heard the shot and the scream. Then everything faded. I was unconscious until the rescuers came. I see. But that doesn't make sense. Look at this file one more time. This plainly contradicts the witness's testimony. You do enjoy dragging out that file, don't you? I don't accept this evidence unless you can tell us what page it's on. Which page contradicts Miles Edgeworth's testimony, Miles Brower? Look at the victim data in this file. It says it quite plainly. The murder weapon fired twice. Miles Edgeworth only heard one gunshot, yet the murder weapon was fired twice. The first shot was the accidental firing when the pistol was thrown. So, who fired the remaining shot?
Hey, Emmy. I don't even know if I will be able to stream Persona 3 tonight, because I think even my throat's just hurting in general. So even my regular voice is I'm still kind of in pain. The last time this happened was when I streamed Danganronpa.
Was there perhaps another shooter who fired that second shot?
Who's that Beethoven? Oh, you mean... You talking about Von Karma?
Your Honor, as I'm sure you're aware, this incident occurred 15 years ago. The evidence is dated. The pistol did fire twice. However, we do not know when that second shot was fired. It might have been fired the day before the incident. There's no proof that the second shot had anything to do with this incident. What? I see. You do have a point, Mr. Wright. The murder weapon was fired twice, as we've heard. One of those shots was fired by the defendant, a boy at the time. Do you have any proof that the other shot fired had something to do with the case?
Do I? I don't know. Yes, I do.
Your Honor, I think I'll be able to show you proof. What? Impossible. Now, Mr. Von Carva, save your surprise for after you've seen the evidence. Very well, Mr. Wright, show us your proof. Do you have evidence that the second firing of the pistol is related to this incident? Look at this photograph.
He loves saying that in this case.
Von Carva. This is a photograph of the scene of the crime 15 years ago. I can see that the victim lying there is Gregory Edgeworth. This proves the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. This photo proves it. Did I just mess that up? I think I just messed that up. This photo proves 2 shots were fired? Where? Your Honor, please get a clue.
Or I didn't. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, show the judge the contradiction. This. As should be obvious, the contradiction is here. I see a bullet hole in the door. Your Honor, Gregory Edgeworth was killed by a shot from the pistol. Yet there's also a bullet hole in the elevator door. We also know that the murder weapon was fired twice. Thus, someone other than Edgeworth fired that second shot. Order! Mr. Wright, what are you driving at? It's simple, Your Honor. At the time of the incident, 2 shots were fired. One went into Gregory Edgeworth's heart. The other hit the elevator door. Remember that the defendant lost consciousness after the shot he fired rang out. In conclusion, we must agree that the second shot was fired by someone else. Mr. Wright, but who could that someone else be? The murderer, of course. I knew I should have stepped in before your wild fantasies got out of hand. Mr. Wright, look once more at the DL6 incident case file. Look closely. Try the case summary page. The case summary? That's on page 1. Look what is written there. Not a single clue was found on the scene. If the pistol had indeed been fired 2 times, then the other bullet would have been discovered on the scene. He does have a point. That second bullet has never been found. Why? Because the second bullet does not exist. The bullet that claimed Gregory Edgeworth's life was the one fired by his own son. That is the truth of this matter. The whole truth. It was undoubtedly something else that made that bullet hole in the door.
Like what?
Order! I will have order! Mr. Wright has proven one thing to us quite clearly, that the murder weapon was fired twice at the time of the incident. However, as Mr. Von Karma says, the second bullet fired was not found. It is highly unlikely that the police merely overlooked the second bullet. So, all we have is the single bullet fired. I'm afraid I have to discount the defense's claim. I praise the judge for his wisdom in this matter. Gah! How did this happen? I don't believe that the second bullet didn't exist. Was I wrong? Have I been wrong about this whole incident?
What are you doing, Nick? Why aren't you raising an objection?
I'm sorry, Maya.
What?
It looks like I was wrong.
Nick?
If the second bullet wasn't there, then all my conjectures are for nothing.
No. But you said you'd do it, Nick. You said you'd get Edgeworth declared innocent.
I'm sorry. It's just, when I saw the photograph, I thought that 2 shots had been fired. I was so certain of it. I thought I'd won. I thought there was another person, someone else who fired the killing shot. But now, I was wrong to think it could be that simple. This case has stood unsolved for 15 years.
Nick.
Well, it seems that we have finally cleared up the incident. Only 1 bullet was found at the scene of the crime. That shot was fired by Miles Edgeworth. Precisely. I would like to ask one thing of Miles Edgeworth before passing my verdict. Have you been paying attention to the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. Do you have any objections? No, I do not. So you killed your father, though that was not your intention? Yes, I did.
Oh no. He's confessing.
Very well. The statute of limitations on the murder of Gregory Edgeworth runs out today. Therefore, I must pronounce a verdict on the defendant today, right here. Right now. Indeed. Does anyone have any objections? I've been here before. It's just like my first day in court. There are so many things I know I should be saying, but my mind's gone blank. I can't find the words. Mr. Wright? Objection! Your Honor! I object! Mr. Wright, on what grounds do you object,
Oof. Nick?
I don't know. His case is perfect.
No.
Ugh! It must exist. Oh, the second bullet. What? What did you just say?
Nothing.
The second bullet must exist? But where? Someone took it. It seems waiting is not going to produce us any answers from Mr. Wright. Wait, Your Honor. The second bullet. It exists. What? But we've just heard proof that it did not exist. I realize that, Your Honor. I'm really grasping here. It's just someone took it from the scene of the crime. That's what happened. But who? The murderer. The murderer? Then tell us, just who is this murderer? I'm still thinking about that one. So the criminal took the second bullet, but why would he? Huh? First of all, how would he have found it? It's not easy to find a stray bullet, Mr. Wright. Was there some pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet? Why would the murderer have spent the time to look for that stray bullet? I haven't got a clue. What's wrong, Mr. Wright? Bah, the murderer had no reason to take that bullet. You don't want to admit it, but that's true. Ugh. Had to take it. Had to take it? The murderer? What does that mean? You're thinking too normal. Think crazy. Don't think why the bullet was taken. Think why the bullet had to be taken. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, the murderer had no intention of taking the bullet from the scene.
Aw, thank you, Abby. It's okay.
But, the murderer had to take that bullet. Had to, Mr. Wright? What do you mean? Well, for instance. For instance, what? Maybe the bullet, hit the murderer? The bullet hit the murderer? Just saying, for instance. I mean, if it hit you, you would have to take it with you, wouldn't you? It's not like you could perform surgery right there. You know? Wait a second. I was just talking off the top of my head, but what if that's really what happened? Let me get this straight. So at the time of the murder, the murderer himself was shot? And he left with the second bullet still inside? Thus leaving only one bullet at the scene of the crime? Yes, I guess that's how it would work, yes. But there's a problem with that. The other two people rescued from the elevator. Miles Edgeworth and Yanni Yogi were both unharmed, so that would mean the murderer came from outside, yes. The two men fight inside the elevator. Trying to stop them, the boy picks up the pistol at his feet and throws it. The pistol discharges and the bullet goes through the elevator door and hits the murderer outside. The boy loses consciousness. Then the murderer opens the elevator door and sees the men inside. Mr. Wright,